The dining room clock read 7:23 p.m. when I placed the manila folder on the table between my parents and my brother Marcus. Thanksgiving dinner, untouched turkey, cold mashed potatoes, sat forgotten as 3 pairs of eyes stared at me like I'd just detonated a bomb. "What's this supposed to be?" Mum's voice had that edge, the one reserved exclusively for me. I opened the folder. Bank statements, police reports, screenshots with timestamps, 27 pages of evidence that would either destroy my family or finally set me free. The worst part wasn't that my golden child brother had committed fraud, identity theft, and ruined my credit score. It was that even with proof in their hands, I could see my mother's fingers already moving to close the folder. To protect him, like always. "Sweetheart," Dad said, not looking at the documents, "I think you're overreacting again." Again. That word. Story of my entire life. Let me take you back to where this really started. 3 years earlier, I was 22, fresh out of college, working my first real job as a junior accountant at Morrison & Fletcher. Nothing glamorous. Cubicle, fluorescent lights, the smell of burnt coffee perpetually hanging in the air. But it was mine. I'd earned it. Marcus was 25, Stanford graduate, worked in tech consulting, though no one could ever explain exactly what that meant. He had Dad's charisma, Mum's sharp cheekbones, and an apartment in the city that shouldn't have been affordable on his supposed salary. But he was the golden child, always had been. I was manageable. That's the word Mum used once when she thought I couldn't hear. At least Lily's manageable, not brilliant like Marcus, but manageable. The first sign something was wrong came on a Tuesday morning, September 17th. I remember because I'd just gotten my employee benefits package and was excitedly reading about the 401k matching program when my phone rang. Unknown number. "Ms. Chen, this is Amanda from Capital Credit Services. I'm calling about your delinquent account. The $8,400 you owe on the MasterCard opened in June." My coffee went cold in my hand. "I don't have a MasterCard." "According to our records, you opened this account on June 3rd at our downtown branch. You've missed 3 payments and—" "That's impossible. I've never been to that branch. I don't even have a Capital credit card." Silence. Then, "I'm looking at the application now. It has your social security number, your address, your mother's maiden name." The floor tilted, just slightly, like the whole world had shifted 2 degrees off its axis. I pulled my credit report that afternoon, sitting in my car in the parking lot because I couldn't wait until I got home. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type on my phone. 3 credit cards I'd never opened. Total balance, $23,600. A car loan for a BMW M3, $47,000. An apartment lease in the Marina District that listed me as a co-signer, all opened within the past 8 months, all with my information, all delinquent. My credit score had dropped from 720 to 498. I called Mum first. Mistake. "Lily, honey, are you sure you didn't open these? Sometimes when we're stressed or drinking with friends, we do things we don't remember. Mom, I don't forget to open credit cards." "Well, there must be some explanation. Did you lose your wallet? Maybe someone found it and—" This would require my social security number, my birth certificate information, things that aren't in my wallet. A pause. I could hear her breathing, the way she did when she was choosing her words carefully. "Let's not jump to conclusions. These things happen. We'll figure it out." But there was something in her voice, something that made my stomach clench. I called the bank next, then the credit card companies. Each conversation is the same. "Someone with your exact information opened these accounts. We have signatures. We have verification questions answered correctly. The car loan was the smoking gun. The dealership had security footage. It took me 3 days to get them to email me a screenshot. 3 days of phone calls, of being transferred, of explaining over and over that this was fraud. When the image finally loaded on my phone, I was sitting in my childhood bedroom at my parents' house. I'd driven over for dinner, trying to act normal while my entire financial life crumbled around me. The person signing the papers, smiling at the camera, handing over my driver's license? Marcus, my brother, wearing the navy blue sweater I'd bought him for Christmas. I found him in the garage, detailing the BMW, the $47,000 BMW that was destroying my credit. "Nice car," I said. My voice sounded strange, distant, like it was coming from someone else's body. He looked up, smiled. That easy Marcus smile that made everyone love him. "Thanks. Early bonus from work. Been saving up." "Saving up?" "Yeah, you know how it is. Tech money's good." He sprayed something on the hood, wiped it with a microfiber cloth. Careful, loving. "You should see the apartment I got. Marina District. Amazing view. You should come by sometime." "The apartment you co-signed with my name, or a different one?" His hand stopped mid-wipe, just for a second, then continued. "What are you talking about?" I held up my phone, the security footage screenshot. "I'm talking about this. I'm talking about the $23,600 in credit card debt, the car loan, the apartment lease, all in my name, all opened by you." "Lily, I think you're confused." "I have footage, Marcus, time-stamped. I have the applications with your IP address. I have security questions that only someone with access to Mum and Dad's files could answer." He set down the cloth, slowly, then turned to face me, and for just a moment I saw something flicker across his face, something cold, something I'd never seen before. Then it was gone, replaced by concern. "This sounds like identity theft. We should call the police." "You are the identity theft." "Lily?" He stepped toward me, hands raised like I was a spooked animal. "I know you've been stressed. Your job, living alone, all that pressure. Sometimes our minds play tricks. Don't you dare gaslight me. I have evidence, mountains of it." That's when Mum appeared in the garage doorway, like she'd been waiting, like she'd heard everything and had been deciding when to intervene. "What's going on out here?" "Mom, Marcus stole my identity. He's ruined my credit. He's committed fraud." "Lily, sweetheart, calm down." "I am calm. Look at this." I tried to show her the phone, but she barely glanced at it. "I think you're upset. Maybe you made some financial decisions and now you're trying to—" "Are you seriously suggesting I'm lying?" Marcus moved to Mum's side, the two of them standing together, a unit, like always. "Mum, I think Lily might need some help, professional help. This paranoia." "It's not paranoia when I have proof." Dad appeared behind Mom, the three of them framed in the doorway. Me, alone in the garage with a $47,000 car that was destroying my life. "Lily," Dad said, his voice that calm, reasonable tone he used when he thought I was being hysterical. "Marcus is your brother. Why would he do something like this?" I moved out that night. I packed a bag, drove to my friend Sarah's apartment, and sat on her couch at midnight drinking tea while she pulled up my credit report on her laptop. "Holy shit," she whispered, scrolling. "Lily, this is serious fraud." "I know. No, I mean, this is organized. This isn't someone stealing your wallet. This is someone who had access to your documents over months, years, maybe." She turned the laptop toward me. Look at the dates. The first inquiry on your credit was 22 months ago. A small credit card, $500 limit, paid off immediately. My hands had gone numb. What? He was building your credit, or testing the waters, then bigger cards, then the car. This was planned. I filed the police report the next morning. Detective Rodriguez, 40-something, tired eyes, coffee stain on his tie, listened to everything. Look at my evidence. Then leaned back in his chair. This is good documentation, he said, but here's the problem. Your brother lives with your parents. No, he has an apartment. The Marina District one? That's technically half yours according to the lease. My stomach dropped. And the car is registered to both of you. And the credit cards, yes, fraud, but you have the same address on file. This looks less like identity theft and more like a family financial dispute. He forged my signature. Did he? Or did he have permission? Would your parents testify that you two had an agreement? The question hung in the air. Would they? I already knew the answer. Look, Rodriguez said, not unkindly. I'm not saying don't pursue this. I'm saying it's going to be complicated. Family cases always are. You need documentation that proves he acted without your knowledge. Timestamps, witnesses, a paper trail showing you weren't involved. I became obsessive. Sarah said I'd turned into a detective from a TV show, conspiracy board and everything. I didn't have a physical board, but I had spreadsheets. God, did I have spreadsheets? 17 separate instances of fraud. I documented each one. June 3, 2021. Capital Credit MasterCard opened. I was at work, verified with my employee badge scanner. Marcus's IP address on the application matched his apartment Wi-Fi. July 15, 2021. Second credit card, Chase Sapphire. I was at a friend's wedding in Portland. Plane tickets, hotel receipts, photos. Marcus was in San Francisco. September 22, 2021. BMW loan. I was in the hospital with food poisoning. Medical records, time-stamped. Security footage showed Marcus at the dealership at exactly 2:47 p.m. On and on. 17 instances, 17 ironclad alibis. But I needed more. I needed to understand how he'd gotten my information, how he'd known enough to answer security questions, how he'd forged signatures good enough to pass inspection. The answer came from an unexpected source, my grandmother. I'd driven to her house in Palo Alto, just to visit, to escape the suffocating tension, when she mentioned, casually, that Marcus had borrowed her scanner last year. My scanner? I asked. The document scanner. He said he needed it for work, some project. I had it for 3-4 months. Why? My blood went cold. Grandma, do you keep family documents here? Birth certificates? Social security cards? Well, yes. Your mother keeps copies here too, in case of emergency. Why, sweetheart? I drove back to Sarah's apartment doing 90 on the highway, hands shaking, mind racing. He'd scanned everything. Every document, every signature. He'd had months to practice forging my handwriting, to memorize my information, to plan this entire thing. And he'd done it from Grandma's house, where no one would question it, where it would seem innocent. Sarah helped me file a subpoena for Marcus's laptop and phone records. Her boyfriend was a lawyer, corporate law, not criminal, but he knew people. We found someone willing to help. 2 months later, we had them. His digital footprints laid out like breadcrumbs. The laptop revealed everything. 93 scanned documents, including my birth certificate, social security card, passport, old tax returns, even my college transcripts. All scanned between March and June 2021. Practice signatures. Jesus, there were folders of them. Pages where he'd traced my signature, practiced it, refined it, like an art student studying a master. Searches. How to answer credit card security questions. How long does identity theft investigation take? Can family members prosecute each other? Emails. Conversations with credit card companies, where he posed as me. The IP addresses matched his apartment. The timestamps matched periods when I was probably elsewhere. And the most damning piece, a spreadsheet. His own spreadsheet. Titled LC Project, my initials, listing every card, every loan, every account. With credit limits, interest rates, payment due dates. He'd budgeted my identity theft. There was even a column labelled Risk Level, where he'd rated each account. The BMW was marked High Risk, she might notice. The small credit cards were Low Risk, under radar. I sat in Sarah's apartment looking at this spreadsheet, my life reduced to risk assessments and credit limits, and something inside me just broke. Not broke like shattered, broke like a fever breaking, like clarity. This wasn't about money, it was about power, about being the golden child so completely that even my identity was his to use. Which brings us back to Thanksgiving, to that dining room. At that moment, I placed the folder on the table. Mum's fingers hovered over the folder, wanting to close it, but Dad had already started reading. I watched his face change, watched the colour drain. I watched his eyes move from page to page, and with each page, watched something in him shift. Marcus, Dad's voice was quiet, is this true? Dad, I can explain, is this true? Marcus looked at me, really looked at me, and for the first time in our entire lives, I saw fear in his eyes. Not the cold calculation from the garage, real, genuine fear. Some of it might be, there might have been a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding? I kept my voice level, calm. I'd practiced this. You scanned 93 of my legal documents. You practiced forging my signature 72 times. I counted. You created a spreadsheet budgeting my identity. Which part is the misunderstanding? Mum finally looked at the documents, really looked. I watched her go through the same transformation as Dad. Denial, disbelief, dawning horror. The practice signatures did it, seeing pages and pages of my name in Marcus's handwriting, getting progressively more accurate. That's what made it real for her. Marcus, she whispered, what did you do? I was going to pay it all back. I just needed time. You've had 22 months, I said. You're not paying anything back. You're defaulting, letting it destroy my credit while you enjoy the car, the apartment, the lifestyle. I have a plan. No. Dad stood up. I'd never seen him look at Marcus like that, like he was seeing a stranger. No more plans, no more explanations. Lily, what do you need from us? The question stunned me into silence. What did I need? I need you to testify, I finally said. Detective Rodriguez says it's a family dispute unless I can prove Marcus acted without permission. I need you to tell the truth, that you never authorized this, that you had no idea. Mum was crying, silent tears running down her face, mascara leaving black trails. I need you, I continued, my own voice breaking now, to choose me, just this once, to see what he did, to not protect him from the consequences. The silence in that dining room felt like it lasted hours. It was probably 30 seconds. Okay, Dad said. What? Marcus stood up, chair scraping. Dad, you can't… Sit down, Marcus. I'm your son, and she's my daughter. Dad looked at me, and his eyes were red. I'm sorry, Lily. I'm so sorry we didn't believe you. We'll testify. We'll do whatever you need. Mum nodded, still crying. Whatever you need. The court hearing was on February 12th. Small claims court, not dramatic like TV, just a conference room with beige walls and fluorescent lights. But every seat was filled. Sarah was there, her lawyer boyfriend, my grandmother who'd driven up that morning, and my parents, sitting in the front row, looking like they'd aged 10 years in 3 months. Marcus sat at the defendant's table with his own lawyer, paid for by Mum and Dad, ironically. He wouldn't look at me. Judge Patterson, 60-something, reading glasses, no patience for nonsense, reviewed the evidence, all 27 pages of it, plus the laptop data, plus the testimony. Detective Rodriguez testified, confirmed the investigation, the evidence, the clear pattern of fraud. The credit card companies testified, explained the applications, the IP addresses, the security footage. My employer testified, confirmed my whereabouts during key dates with badge scanner data. And my parents testified. I watched Mum on the stand, her hands trembling in her lap, explaining how Marcus had borrowed the scanner, how he'd had access to family documents, how they'd never authorized him to use my identity, how they'd been wrong to doubt me. She looked at me when she said that last part. We were wrong. We should have believed our daughter. Marcus's lawyer tried to argue it was a family financial arrangement, that there had been an understanding. Judge Patterson removed her glasses. Counsel, I've reviewed the evidence. The practice signatures alone constitute clear intent to defraud. The spreadsheet rating risk levels shows premeditation. The timestamps prove the plaintiff couldn't have been involved. What exactly is your defense here? Your Honor, family dynamics are complex. This isn't complex. This is identity theft. 17 counts. $70,600 in fraudulent debt. Premeditated, documented, and devastating to the victim's financial future. She looked at Marcus. Mr. Chen, stand up. He stood. For the first time, he looked small. I'm ordering full restitution, all debts paid within 6 months. You'll work with credit bureaus to remove every mark from your sister's record. You're banned from opening any accounts, credit cards, or loans using her information. And I'm referring this case to the district attorney for potential criminal charges. Marcus swayed slightly. His lawyer grabbed his arm. Furthermore, Judge Patterson continued, I'm issuing a restraining order. You're to have no contact with Ms. Chen for a minimum of 2 years. No calls, no texts, no showing up at her workplace or residence. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor, Marcus whispered. 6 months later, my credit score was 695 and climbing. Every fraudulent account was removed, every debt paid. Marcus had sold the BMW, moved out of the Marina District apartment, and, according to Dad, was working 2 jobs to pay the restitution. The district attorney had decided not to press criminal charges. Family complications, they called it. Part of me was angry about that, part of me was just exhausted. I didn't go to family dinners anymore. Couldn't, not yet, maybe not ever. But Mum texted every few days, nothing heavy, just thinking of you or saw this recipe you'd like. Dad sent articles about accounting careers, like he was trying to show interest, trying to make up for years of manageability. I didn't respond much, but I read them. Everyone. Sarah and I got an apartment together, 2 bedrooms in a not quite as nice neighborhood, but it was ours. No shared leases, no co-signers, just our names. I got promoted at work, junior to senior accountant. My boss said I'd shown remarkable attention to detail and investigative skills. If only he knew. The weirdest part? I wasn't angry anymore. Not the burning, consuming anger that had fueled those months of investigation. I just felt free, like I'd been carrying Marcus's weight my entire life and had finally set it down. Grandmother came to visit last week, brought cookies and asked about work, and carefully didn't mention Marcus until I asked. "He's struggling," she said simply, "working hard, trying to make amends." "Good," I said, and I meant it, not vindictively, just good. He should understand what struggle feels like, what it's like when the golden coating wears off and you're just a person who made terrible choices. "Your mother asks about you constantly," Grandmother continued. "I want to know if you're okay, if you're eating well, if you need anything." "Tell her I'm okay," I said. And for the first time in my life, when I said those words about my family, they were true. Here's what I learned. Being the forgettable child, the manageable one, the daughter who didn't shine quite as bright, it sucked. It really sucked. But it also made me resilient in ways Marcus never had to be. It taught me to document, to verify, to trust my own reality, even when everyone around me said I was wrong. The golden child got away with everything until he couldn't anymore, and when he fell, he shattered. Because he'd never learned to be anything else. I learned to be steel. My parents are learning, slowly, to see me, actually see me, not as manageable or forgettable or Marcus's less impressive sister, just as Lily, as their daughter, as someone who deserved their belief and protection, not because I was brilliant or charismatic or golden, but because I was telling the truth. It's not a happy ending. It's not a tied up with a bow, everyone's happy now ending, but it's honest. And maybe that's better. To anyone out there who's the forgotten child, the one who's fine, the one whose problems get dismissed because you're not the golden one who needs protection, your reality is real. Your evidence matters. Your voice deserves to be heard. Document everything. Trust yourself. And remember, being underestimated is sometimes the greatest advantage you'll ever have. They never saw me coming. If this story resonated with you, remember, identity theft by family members is real, devastating, and more common than you think. If you're experiencing this, document everything, file police reports, and don't let anyone gaslight you into thinking it's not serious. Your credit, your identity, your future, they're worth fighting for.